video play. But it's based on ESP32s, which are these microcontrollers very similar to Arduinos, but they have a very specific module, these particular ones at least. They are called UWB, or ultra wideband. This is a technology that allows you to track real-time position with a lot of accuracy, way more than other alternatives. And it works with like very low delay, with very low latency, and this opens up many opportunities, many possibilities. The way that it works, and here I'm kind of showcasing the general idea, I use two at least as anchors, so both of them are stable in a surface, they don't move, and the other two or more, if I had more, they could move around, and I will be able to, in real time, calculate the time of flight, which basically means how much time a signal takes to go back and forth from one point to the other. And that allows me later, with using some geometry, and all of this running on, I think, C++ code, allows me to get the real-time position of the moving microcontrollers. So we can power this with something as simple as a power bank, and connect it to Touchdesigner that allows me to have a real-time positioning system that works pretty well with very low latency, and that opens up many doors. Here I'm doing like a quick preview of like the whole setup. It's obviously very DIY, but I had two of these microcontrollers connected to these power banks. I had two of these anchors, both of them just stable. Ideally, I would have them like attached to something, but this was just a random video that I recorded in school. So all of this was then sending information to a fifth ESP32, which is receiving all of the data and using the serial port to send it to Touchdesigner. And here I'm going to be showing, I think, a little bit of the network. The general idea is that, as I mentioned, I'm using a serial port, so all of the data goes from all of these microcontrollers using a protocol called ESP-NOW into the receiver one that sends everything through serial port here, so you can see all of the numbers. On the left, you see which of the tags is being received, and then you check the distances between the anchors. Then I process that distance, just a bunch of like chop stuff, as you can see. And then I do some very simple geometry, some cosine stuff that I learned in like middle school or high school, and I never had to use until now. And now, after receiving all of that data, I'm able to get here X and Y coordinates. And those are these coordinates that you can see here. And as I move these two controllers, I get in real time a reflection on that being rendered here in Touchdesigner. And this is what later I'm using for this particular piece that I'm going to be showing. But the idea is that you can use this for like many different applications. You can have many of these controllers. In this case, this is running a particle system. So here you have these two nodes where I have on the top the particles, on the bottom a visualization of the devices in real time. And with this all put together, and later with some post-processing, I built this piece that I call greater than 2, kind of showcasing a little bit some human connections that it was kind of inspired by the fact of like being far away from my home country of Chile. And yeah, here you can see like a demo that we recorded actually yesterday with Tarin. And yeah, I just let it play so you can see how this works. As you see, it reacts decently well to when I put them together, close together, when I separate them. In this case, it's a simple particle system, I guess, but you could explore this with many different applications. And yeah, I don't think there's like a hard limit to how many of these devices you can have connected on the same, I guess, network. So theoretically, if you didn't have a limit of resources, you can buy like, I don't know, dozens, maybe more, and build like a pretty way more complex system. Also, as I showed, I only have 2 anchors. That limits me to be able to only get position in like a 2D plane. With a third one, I could get 3-dimensional data, but I chose to use the third one as another tag. And yeah, here you can just see a little bit of the post-processing that is making this look a little bit prettier. It's nothing crazy. I have a feedback loop. And then I'm composing both the particles with this initial circles visualization with like a very low transparency. Then some lookup with to get some nice color palettes, some bloom that always makes everything looks pretty. And yeah, then sometimes I like to add some noise on top just to make it a little bit more kind of like analog looking. I don't know if it actually accomplishes that, but I think it looks nice. And yeah, so this is something that I've been working recently. I'm trying to explore different ways of applying this. I have a few ideas, but if any of you guys also have ideas or ways that you think we could apply this technology for, please reach out. Let's talk. I would love that. And yeah, this is just like a final